What is going on, YouTube? Today we are going to go over my journey to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm going to give you some tips and things that I learned along the way. I made a lot of mistakes before I figured out what worked, and I really wanted to share with all of you who are thinking of starting out a channel, or maybe you need some tips to help you succeed. The mistakes I made were really important to me figuring out a path to success, and it is okay to test out new things along the way. I managed to get 1,000 subs in less than 6 months, but honestly, my 1,000 subs really came in about 2 months. The first 4 months were all about exploration and learning, and I will share my experience of that. I'm thinking of making this a new series where we don't only talk about my journey, but I will teach you all how to make thumbnails, how to learn the YouTube search algorithm, titles, branding, etc. So if you like this type of video, subscribe to the channel and come back for more of that. Of course, we will be back with more Apex Legends and Call of Duty Cold War content later this week. This video is targeted towards the gaming type of channel, but honestly, I think some of these tips would work for a channel of any type. With all that out of the way, let's get started with my journey and strategy that I used to get 1,000 YouTube subscribers. The very first thing when starting to make a channel is to really get some goals and figure out why you want to make a channel. For me, I had been missing a creative outlet that I got in architecture school. My current professional life doesn't really let me explore creativity like I used to. Second for me, honestly, is that I love problem solving, improving, and building something. I thought it would be fun to see how creating a channel would go. I've always wanted to create a channel even since I was probably 18 to 20 years old. Now I'm 29 and I've consumed an extreme amount of content on the internet. I figured it was time to give it a go in making content. Third, I really wanted to build a community that engages in healthy discussions of games and is all about a positive atmosphere and inclusion. If you guys want to join the Discord or Twitch communities, links are in the description below. I would be happy to answer any questions regarding YouTube, branding, or anything gaming related to the best of my young career's ability. And the biggest thing is I really want to help others improve their game, which is what I am all about on my channel. Guides, tips, and gameplay that helps others get better faster, and to bring a slightly above average point of view, because I often find many pro tips honestly are useless for those less experienced or just beginning out in a game. Not all pro tips will benefit everyone, and they can hurt more than help in my opinion. I set out on this journey with zero concerns of how much money I might make from this, and I really just focused on building good content that is beneficial for others to be watching. Your passion needs to be genuine and not money driven. Of course though, this is just my opinion. So these were my general goals when making the channel. I initially was just streaming on Twitch, and I knew this wasn't really a viable option to get viewership. The days of just playing games and getting viewers are over. This is especially true if you're playing any of the modern games. I always knew YouTube would be a great way to build an audience as well. And early on in my content creation career, I decided to invest heavily in YouTube, hoping it would pay off. So for starters, looking at my first few videos, this is when I really didn't have much of an idea as how to edit, making thumbnails, and honestly talking over my gameplay. The first few videos were me just experimenting and learning how to do things. It wasn't until the Crossfire X beta where I decided to make a mini review and montage of the game, and this was my first forte into voiceover. It was really challenging for me, and it honestly sucked to make since I was so unsure of myself. My confidence was definitely really low. But ultimately, it was a good thing to do. Also, during this time, I did a bunch of research on different editing programs, and I ultimately went with DaVinci Resolve because it was free and I couldn't and didn't want to pay for Adobe Premiere. Also, Resolve seemed to have a higher ceiling and was an all-in-one type of package that seemed like it would be a good investment in the long run. So if you are wondering, that is the editing software I use. I use DaVinci Resolve. So our first tip was to have goals. The second tip is that is my opinion, your first 50 to 100 videos are honestly all about learning how to do things, trying out new things, and exploring creating content. Have fun during these videos and don't be discouraged when you aren't getting viewership, because you won't really get that much. In these first 50 or so videos, this is really where I tried all this out. I would try a different format of video, try a different thumbnail type, add a new transition for my videos, try adding some sound effects, or do some new effect in DaVinci Resolve that would improve my video or audio quality. I made and improved my social media lower thirds pop-ups. These are all things I tried out in my first 10 to 15 and even all the way up to this video. I'm still trying to improve and learn new things, but early on, almost all of my videos had very little or no viewership. I want to say from my first video in early June to this Pathfinder video, on July 20th. I got maybe 15 subs in about 50 days time. So obviously, like any sane person, I was wondering if this was all worth it, but I kept my head up and I continued to improve my content because deep down I knew that my content wasn't really that great yet, but I did kind of start to see a glimmer of hope. I knew that I had learned a lot and I still had a lot more to learn and improve on, so I kept my head up and I kept on grinding. The next tip is that you really need to have some self-awareness to the content you are creating. This is the biggest tip for your content that I can recommend. If there's anything you want to take away from this video, it is this. Your content needs to give the viewer something. So ask yourself these following questions. 1, would I watch this video and answer it honestly? Would I click on this video? This relates to making good thumbnail titles, which we will go over later. And the biggest thing is 3, does this video teach the viewer something? Will they learn something new that improves their lives, their games, their enjoyment of something? Will they be entertained? Is it funny? Is the content high quality? If you honestly can't say yes to these final few things, then your video just won't be successful because the engagement will be super low. This will end up triggering YouTube to not recommend your video, so keep this all in mind. Engagement is super important when it comes to YouTube. YouTube wants people to stay on the platform as long as possible, and recommending bad or low quality content will not help them achieve this. Moving on through my next few videos, after the Pathfinder video, and this Pathfinder video was the first one I got recommended on YouTube to get very few people, but regardless, this brought me up to about 40 subscribers. From this, it took from July 20th all the way to October 4th to get 100 subscribers. This is about 75 days, and during this time, I started exploring more games and alternating between Call of Duty and Apex Legends more often. I would post Warzone and Apex content simultaneously, and I think that was a good thing for me to do because each game offers a unique editing style, and it let me learn how to edit in different ways. On top of this, I really want to continue to improve my thumbnail abilities, so I continue to improve my thumbnails, and I used Pixlr for a long time, which is a internet browser-based free program. I eventually switched to buying Affinity Photo, which was a one-time purchase of $50 US, which was great for me to do because I didn't want to pay the Adobe Photoshop prices every month. Maybe someday I will get to switch to the Adobe Suite, but until then, I don't have any monthly payments for my editing and video creating software, which is great for me. This means the money I earn off of Twitch and eventually YouTube can go straight into making content and making my branding better. The end of August and early September is when I realized I needed to start focusing on my brand of TimProVision. I wanted to have a unique but consistent feel across all my platforms, so things just felt slightly more professional. This means Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord. All of these I wanted to be a little bit more succinct and combined into one branding feel. Each month I paid a Fiverr artist to create me a certain item that would build on this brand. A logo was crucial to this, and a YouTube banner which would help me direct my overlays on Twitch and some overlays that you see in my YouTube videos. Ultimately, I do really want to do a full image and rebranding someday, but not for a while because it can be very expensive. I want to wait till I get a bit more stable in my editing capabilities, but this is still another thing to keep in mind. Keep planning for the future and thinking about how to improve now, a week from now, a month from now, even 6 months from now. It is super critical to have a plan but not be locked into that plan. You are going to have to make changes when you start to feel out what is and isn't working. With the launch of Apex Legends Season 6 in August, this is when I told myself I was going to start doing more guide and comparison type videos, and this is really where my videos started to get a few hundred views, which was awesome for me and a huge improvement. Obviously, it's not thousands or millions like some of the big channels, but it's all about perspective, so make sure you have perspective on what you are getting. Be realistic with your goals. Uploading gameplay was great for me to learn how to cut clips and make a story with gameplay, but it wasn't really getting that much viewership. I still learned a lot though, and I think doing this is important to a certain extent. During this time of August and September, I doubled down on my thumbnail and title creation. I started to learn all about search engine optimization, or SEO, which I am not really going to get into in this video, but maybe a future video. The only way to get viewership for your videos when starting out is the YouTube search engine, so you need to be doing great keyword research and making good good titles that are searchable. If you aren't doing this, your videos will frankly just get lost in the ether of YouTube. Keep in mind that over 300 hours of video are uploaded every minute. How is someone going to find your 5 to 15 minute video when there are 18,000 minutes of videos being uploaded every minute? This brings me to the fact that you should not be asking other people to view your latest video. This is bad for a multitude of reasons. First thing, it's probably going to piss people off. If they do click on the video, they probably aren't going to watch it in full, which makes for really bad engagement. Like we were talking earlier, YouTube wants to keep people on the platform as long as possible, and good engagement does make this happen. In my opinion, the best way to semi-advertise yourself is to comment on other people's videos that you are genuinely interested in watching. Something like great vid, stay safe, high content creator is not the way to do it. It just shows that you are fishing for something else and is really bad for your channel. A comment like, I really enjoyed the tip about wraiths portaling into an enemy team while taking an alternate angle from your squad was super helpful, thank you. That just sounds way more genuine, and the YouTuber and other commenters can tell that you actually watched the video, which this then may lead to them checking out your channel. To be honest, I did this for a little early on, but I really don't think it's worth spending too much time on this. Honestly, don't know what gains you're going to be getting from commenting on other people's videos if you are fishing for comments, but just be genuine with the comments that you are dropping down below for sure is helpful. This brings me to the end of September in my content creation career, where I have about 80 subs at this point. I decided to create my first full-fledged legend guide on Wraith in Apex Legends. This is my best video to date and was game-changing for me. It only takes one. I am so grateful, and this video is only getting viewership because I am ranking in search for Wraith Guide or Wraith Tips. If we look at this Wraith Guide videos analytics, you can see the trajectory, and it wasn't all that great to start out, but it has continued to pick up, which is insane. This does mean just because a video starts out with low viewership doesn't mean it can't pick up later on. It took 3 days for this video to get 200 views, and now I'm getting about 900 views a day just on this one video. Unlike what most big YouTubers suggest, the first 3 hours and first day aren't always the most important for us new YouTubers. YouTube won't recommend our videos because they don't know if the content we are creating is good. So this is why search engine optimization is important. Of course, like what we were saying earlier, you need to have good engagement though on the first day of your video if you do want it to pick up later on. It was with this video when I realized there's a gap on YouTube for whatever reason for quality guide videos on Apex Legends, and this is where for the time being and even now I have rotated my content to being all about guide videos and helping others, but also making sure my content is more than just talking over some generic gameplay. Almost every video I would post from here on out would be commentary over a guide video that is not too long, maybe 10-ish minutes, but also not too short. From September 25th to November 4th, this was my main focus. This brings me to how long should your videos be? Honestly, YouTube likes recommending longer content and longer videos, but we were just saying YouTube ain't going to recommend our videos because we are still so young and learning in our YouTube careers. So honestly, length doesn't matter necessarily as much as how good the content is. I would still suggest trying to make your video somewhere between 7 and 15 minutes. For me, 10 to 12 minutes is the sweet spot, but it really depends on the content you are showcasing. November 4th was the launch of Apex Legends Season 7, and this is really what changed the game for me again. I still continue to improve my thumbnail and search tactics, as well as trying out new transitions and continuing to improve my branding throughout the month of October, but November 4th was really game-changing for me. Today's world is all about moving on to the next new thing. Stuff doesn't stay relative that long for better or worse, but the hype in gaming is real, and taking advantage of this hype is extremely important. I knew when Season 7 of Apex Legends launched, I wanted to be one of the first people to have a guide on the new legend or new character horizon. Because of this, I had to make sacrifices elsewhere. I grinded really hard the week before, setting up this video with overlays and artwork. That way, when the season launched, I could just record, commentate, and release the new video. I took the day off from work to do this, and it paid off big time. From November 4th to now, I gained about 800 subs, which is insane, and I can't believe it. But throughout this, I am still trying new things and trying to learn from all of this, and I still have a lot more to learn. So in general, that was my road to 1,000 YouTube subscribers, but let's quickly recap the finer points and the big points for you guys to take away from this video. Point one, create content that others want to watch, will teach them, inform them, entertain them, or make them laugh. Two, explore various types of content and or games in your first 50 to 100 videos. Be explorative, be creative with what you're creating. Three, become an expert in the YouTube search optimization. Search optimization is how people are gonna watch your video, how they are gonna find you. It's extremely important. Tip number four, make great thumbnails that are appealing. This is how people are gonna click on your video. If your thumbnail is lacking, they're not gonna click on it, and your click-through rate will be quite low. Tip five, build the brand of you and invest your time wisely and appropriately. Spend the least amount of money while getting the biggest reward as possible. Number six, you will have to make sacrifices both on time investment and financial investment. It takes a long time to make good videos. Just for reference, it takes me probably anywhere from 4 to 15 hours to make one video, and I'm making 2 to 3 of these a week. How much time you put in is directly going to relate to how much you get out of this, most likely. And tip number seven, and the biggest thing, just create content. You'll improve through experience. It isn't going to be perfect when starting out. My videos when starting out are terrible. Honestly, I've debated taking them down. I want to leave these videos up on the channel because it reminds me of where I came from, and it's a good thing to see what we started with and where we are now. This is my journey, and I have learned so much, but still have so much to learn and improve on. I'm still so excited to see where we are going to be in a month, 6 months, a year from now. If this was helpful, hit that like button and sub to the channel for more videos like this. Again, I am thinking of making and expanding this into a type of series where we could go over various things with YouTube, how to make thumbnails, making titles, learning YouTube search engine optimization, and so on. Let me know which one you would like to see next. Currently, I'm thinking of showing how I make my thumbnails because I do think it is the stronger part of my videos. I am also thinking I could explicitly share with you guys how I make a video step by step, from recording gameplay, writing notes, writing a script, editing techniques, researching my keywords, search engine optimization, what I do when I upload, all of that I could show you. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for the support. We are nearing the holidays and the new year. 2020 has been a tough one for all of us, but we have to make the best out of what we got. I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace out, everyone.